Before we begin, this will be a very Spark Notes retelling of the last 3 phases of Marvel. I have not seen all of the TV shows or all of the movies, and this video is already long as it is. I don't need to ramble about an hour covering projects I haven't seen in a good few years. We good? We good. Okay. Starting in 2021, the Multiverse Saga is the current saga of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It spans phases 4 through 6, and it follows up the Infinity Saga, which was phases 1 through 3. And this next phase hasn't really finished yet. We're still in the middle of phase 6. So, when you start a new phase, you want to have a good film to go lead to it. And that film was Black Widow. Listen, I have no hate for the solo Black Widow movie, but this movie should have happened in phase 3. You can't have the start of a new phase of Marvel where there are going to be more fantastical elements and more comic-y parts of the comics, then make a spy thriller, boots on the ground kind of movie. At least this is where we would meet some characters like Yelena and the Red Guardian to kind of make this movie worth your while. Obviously, for the rest of Phase 4, we had some of the more fantastical beings in the MCU, like Shang-Chi, the second Doctor Strange movie, Multiverse of Madness, the Eternals, and even Spider-Man No Way Home had a lot of these story beats built into it. Shang-Chi and the Multiverse of Madness also had their ties to Doomsday, even though they probably set up more Kang Dynasty than Doomsday.
What is it?
A beacon.
We're sending a message.
A message to where?
Can I help you?
You caused an incursion, and we're gonna fix it. Unless you're afraid.
Oh my God! What is that?
But more on that later. And some of the TV shows did this too, with various degrees of success. WandaVision, Loki Season 1, and Ms. Marvel helped shape what was upcoming. And there was a lot of filler in between. Shows like What If, Hawkeye, and She-Hulk took up more space to get things a little slowed down before we get to the next part. The TV shows and movies had really no connection to them, and yeah, it introduces characters, but the payoffs and the storylines don't come until a few years later, or they just outright forget. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania was the start of Phase 5. I will give them credit for setting up the next Avengers level threat in Kang the Conqueror, as he was teased to be something a lot bigger in Loki. However, I am not in agreement with making the next Avengers level threat getting his ass handed to him by Ant-Man, of all people. When they were setting up Thanos, for example, he didn't get his ass kicked by one single person. Thor almost died to him, Loki did die to him, and Hulk got his ass handed to him so hard that we didn't see Mark Ruffalo turn into the Hulk, the proper Hulk, 8 years later in Spider-Man. And the Avengers almost lost to him twice, in Infinity War, and they almost lost in Endgame too. But throughout those 2 movies and countless post-credit scenes, it helped establish Thanos as the final boss of this saga. In Quantumania, Ant-Man gets his ass handed to him at the beginning, but then overcomes that and wins. Really, don't give me that bullshit about how, oh, the ones in the post-credit scene are supposed to be the real evil Kangs. No. Kang is the villain and has his countless variants from different timelines be the villain. It's plain stupid that the one Kang audiences saw in both Loki and this film weren't the main Kang variant that they all fight in the next Avengers film. Now, how does it look when it shows that the next Avengers level threat is weak? When he's weak, audiences don't take him seriously. So, this next part is now the key to understanding why we were getting Doctor Doom instead of Kang the Conqueror. Now, I'm gonna go a little bit more in depth into this, so this is your only spoiler. This is your only warning for domestic abuse as I talk about it, and a lot of people aren't comfortable with that. So so if you want to like skip through it, here's the time slot. I'll include it right there. It'll be there. That way you don't have to hear it. Sound good? Are we good? Are they gone? Awesome. Jonathan Majors was arrested on March 25th, 2023 for a, quote, alleged domestic dispute. And by the next day, he was charged with assault and harassment, which was changed to 3 counts of attempted assault in the 3rd degree and harassment in the 2nd degree. Here's what they include on screen. Right there. Marvel had announced in July that Majors will appear in Loki Season 2 as the King variant Victor Timely, who was in the Ant-Man 3 post-credit scene. The trial got delayed again for October, and then Marvel finally broke the silence on Majors in Loki Season 2. Executive producer of Loki, Kevin Wright, was asked if anything was cut from the final season, and he stated, "This is the first Marvel series where to never have any additional photography. The story is on screen is the story that we set out to make." Then he went on to say anything about Majors being recast, and he said, "No. And that mainly came from, as I know as much as you do at the moment. It felt hasty doing anything without knowing how all of this plays out." Later, Majors was found on a misdemeanor assault in the 3rd degree, recklessly causing physical injury and harassment in the 2nd degree. And within the hour, Marvel had announced that they had dropped Majors from all projects. Obviously, you can't predict how this was gonna go. You can't predict it. It's insane that Majors did all of that when, in my opinion, you are a good actor with tons of range and having that Marvel paycheck that funnels the rest of your career. The last thing you want to do is mess it up with something dumb like this. Anyways, personal opinion aside, so now Marvel had to pivot. I couldn't tell you who was considered to be the next big bad of the MCU, but given that Secret Wars is the 6th Avengers film, they were looking at the supervillain, Cooler Than a Million, to be that next guy. Anyway, the rumor mill started with who was going to play him.
A few inches later.
As proof of the unimaginable possibilities in the Marvel multi-universe, we give you the one person who could play Victor Von Doom.
New mask. Same task.
I'm reacting. You just can't see. After that reveal, many of the projects in Phase 5 didn't lead anything towards Doomsday. The Marvels had a post-credit scene where one of the characters, Monica Rambeau, ventured to the X-Men universe, Earth 10005. Captain America Brave New World had their post-credit scene tied to something bigger. Thunderbolts and the Fantastic Four: The First Steps also had ties in to Doomsday, with Fantastic Four having Doom finally appear. Spider-Man Brand New Day's post-credit scene more alludes to Secret Wars and not Doomsday, although you could say a Spider-Man could show up in Doomsday. Now, after all of that, we're at the final part of this chapter, and this is the big question. Was the multiverse saga a failure? I personally would say so. I don't want to go long, but a lot of the projects made it seem like homework to find out where everything fit in the timeline. Having to pivot from Jonathan Majors and Kang to RDJ and Doom, and Marvel taking this long for an Avengers film is insane. Like Age of Ultron, for all of its faults, was there to have our members be on screen together and included some major players running up to the rest of the saga. The multiverse saga missed that. Now, while Marvel made money with majority of these films, I think it's safe to say that these films will forever divide the fan base into what is good and what was bad about the current Marvel landscape. Robert Downey Jr. had his moment in the past decade as Iron Man. He had his moments, we laughed, we cried when he died in Avengers Endgame. And we rode off into the sunset and thought we wouldn't see any version of Tony Stark, either him or a new actor, until the next generation of the MCU. And then he got announced as Doctor Doom. Oh Lord! Knowing what we know now, where they won't reveal his face and it's just the mask and the iconic suit, I'm fine with. But I felt that the fan cast of Mads Mikkelsen or Cillian Murphy were more justified than just RDJ. That first trailer where we hear him speak for the first time is great, but fuck, you can't tell me how nervous I am with how they might ruin this. They might do an I Hate You 3000 or have Tom Holland's Spider-Man fuck it up.
Me. For I am Doom.
Along with the cast of returning characters from the Fox X-Men films. There have been countless times where we have said goodbye to Ian McKellen, Patrick Stewart, James Marsden, Rebecca Romijn, and Kelsey Grammer, especially with 2024's Deadpool and Wolverine, where it felt more like a love letter to the Fox era franchise of MCU films. It kind of seems redundant that they're including them in this film, especially with an upcoming X-Men film kicking off the next section of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Part of me thinks that they know this film won't be good, given the short prep time that they have been given, and I think a lot of the old cast want to reprise their roles one last time so they can get audiences back into the theater and make $1 billion. Also, with Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth, it does feel that Thor is going to be the central part of the story, with him being the main crux of the first trailer that we've gotten. Thor being a main character for the audience is great, as it's someone that we know and a character that we can relate to since we've seen him for the past 15 years doing the same thing. However, the smarter thing to do is to just make the Fantastic Four the main characters, as it was confirmed at this year's Comic-Con that Pedro Pascal's Reed Richards and RDJ's Doom have an apparent history.
Victor was always the smartest guy in every room. He used to be different.
Victor. Did you do this? Did you do this?
It kind of just shows that Marvel have been setting up a story, to be honest, that Thor isn't needed, and just raises more questions. Now, on to Chris Evans. Back in 2019, we saw the ending of Endgame, we saw Steve get his fairy tale ending, and finally sharing that dance that they were owed all those years ago. And then, the first teaser dropped, and he's just thrust back into the fight. All of those fan theories aside, what is his purpose? We had his ending, and we loved how it was handled. We need to let go of these characters if they have no purpose in the story. It makes it seem like we're using Marvel rivals as the backbone for the story.
He was whipping up anger in a kettle, festering hatred like steam out the ears, manifesting rage in a kettle, mate, the screams, boiling rage in a kettle.
It makes it seem that The real fear is just diminishing the stories that had their proper conclusions. They even made fun of this in Deadpool and Wolverine when they tried to retcon the Logan ending when Deadpool goes and digs them up. Marvel, we cannot be holding on to the past. We cannot. It's time for new generations to discover new characters and new heroes to grow up with. This is just the angering part. Now I'm going to talk about the future of the MCU, which is a long, detailed process, so I'll go by both the good and the bad. And since I've been more negative than Mr. Negative in this whole video, I might as well take the time to sing the praises of the MCU as of this moment. Feige has stated in multiple interviews discussing how the multiverse saga has seen a lot of quantity and less quality, with a bunch of those projects announced during the multiverse saga either being in development hell or not as good as it could have been. They plan on doing less with how many TV shows and movies they do. Take this upcoming slate of MCU productions that have been Spider-Man Brand New Day, which had been one of the most profitable MCU films in the recent decade, Avengers Doomsday in December of 2026, Secret Wars in December 2027, a new Ghost Rider film supposedly coming out in 2028, and Black Panther 3 also coming out in December 2028. With other projects like a Nova movie, Vision Quest, and an X-Men movie with Thunderbolts director Jake Schreier at the helm, it seems that the MCU is healing from most of those projects that fans, both hardcore and casual, want to see. And as of right now of recording this video, the only project in 2027 being Secret Wars and having it at the end of the year kind of lets them have a breather as to building a roadmap for the next saga, titled The Mutant Saga, and where they can take the next chapter of the MCU. I will say, I am excited for what they do, given that Feige also stated they want to use Secret Wars as an alleged soft reboot of the MCU, which I 100% agree with. It seems that they're finally getting their act together for this next saga, as they are finally wanting to make great films again, along with TV shows that serve another purpose than just building towards a movie that comes out in 5 years' time, or that slowly fills up the cobwebs that is called the Disney Plus library. The X-Men castings have also been taking a lot of shape and having overall amazing castings. We have seen Sadie Sink as Jean Grey, but we've also gotten announcements of Samara Weaving as Emma Frost, which is perfect, by the way. Kit Connors as Scott Summers. While I haven't seen anything of him personally, I'm certain he'll knock it out of the park, along with many other actors that'll take place in the film. Like I said, the rumor is that tomorrow at D23, they'll make the formal announcement of at least a few more of the X-Men characters. Hey y'all, this is me mid-post-production of the video, and D23 happened a little bit ago. I don't know if it's over, but they kind of just stopped doing announcements. They showed off the X-Men cast, and I got almost all of them right, except Indy Navarrete is now Rogue instead of Cally Spaney. Kevin, why do you do this to me? Why do you do this to me, Kevin? Now for the bad. The amount of characters that have been completely overlooked in this current phase of the MCU, including Blade, Moon Knight, She-Hulk, Iron Fist, given that Jessica Jones and Punisher are canon in this universe, along with Daredevil. Wonder Man got canceled for season 2 and we don't know where he's gonna be. The Eternals have been doing nothing, and I can go on and on and on and on and on. This is what happens in an overstuffed universe. All of the characters that die-hard fans want to see aren't able to share the light with the most famous ones, like Fantastic Four, Thunderbolts. I could go on. Now, even though Now that all of the rights are almost under one roof, how Marvel has mismanaged them has been criminal due to how important some of these characters felt. We are also missing important projects that could have been coming out before Doomsday, like Blade. I already have a video on it, go watch it, but it's all confirmed to be dead in the water, and the MCU has been coasting with no set plan. While it worked for the Infinity Saga, for something like the Multiverse and Mutant Saga, it needs to work with a set plan and set amount of movies going forward, with making sure that people know what to watch and set the course on what it is. Not this confusing mess where you need to watch 2 movies, 5 TV shows, a comic run, a video game, and some shit that you find on AO3 to fully understand what is happening. Another negative is with their marketing of Doomsday. Now, it took until mid-July to get 1 trailer and 4 different mini teasers and a whole cast chair list. I did like the rollout for that cast chair list, but it also brings us back to the point of some characters got completely overlooked. And they're gonna get overlooked again. A point of contention as well is that how they handled the premium format situation. With Dune Part 3 coming out the same day as Doomsday, with people trying to do a Barbenheimer-style double feature with it, Dune got first dibs on IMAX screens. So instead of just marking their losses and marketing everything to IMAX, they introduced this new thing called Infinity Vision. What's Infinity Vision, you may ask? Nothing. It's nothing. Infinity Vision is a special certification where it gives theaters the opportunity to give it more colors or shit like that, when in reality it's just a glorified Cinemark XD or Dolby Atmos print of the film. While I don't think audiences are going to care about what they're watching on IMAX or not, this is just Marvel trying to recoup the funds that they lost from losing out the IMAX screens. Which is stupid because Spider-Man Brand New Day just got the IMAX screens back after Nolan released his grip on them for the Odyssey. And look how that film is doing without that advent of the IMAX screens. I'm sure that Doom will likely do the same thing and give up the IMAX screens for Doomsday, but again, this is just petty shit. Either market the film normally with no IMAX, or just cut your losses there. Okay, so before we begin with this chapter, this is just purely here so we can have some fun. I'm not going to put on the tinfoil hat on top of all this costuming, but, because I just could be completely wrong, but remember that these are just pure theories. Now, it's time to put on the MatPat voice for this. Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory! Oh my god. That was good, though. You can't hold me. That was good. Okay, being for real. I'm not going to go over 50 theories. I'm just going to go over this one that I always see on TikTok as when it comes to why Doom is going to create Battleworld. In Endgame, the setup towards the final battle is that the remaining Avengers go back in time to take all of the stones again. Once the stones are taken, they are essentially creating a new timeline from when they were taken. For example, Loki grabbing the Tesseract and then leaving, which in turn creates a new branch of the timeline where now Loki is the god of time, which really shouldn't happen in our timeline. And again, while yes, Cap does return all of the stones, it only solves one problem. The stone coming back does prevent the universe from collapsing. However, it doesn't revert what's already happened. That's why the Loki TV show is so important in the MCU timeline, as the MCU timeline is called the Sacred Timeline. Now that Loki is the god of time, that's why there are a lot of universes that are able to survive. However, due to all of the branching timelines and everything, this can lead to webs being tangled and cause incursions, which can lead to the universe or both universes collapsing and dying. That's why Doom is trying to fix it all, as there are many timelines reverse course to decide their fates. From the revised X-Men timeline, Deadpool and Wolverine, to what Strange did in No Way Home and in Multiverse of Madness, and what the Fantastic Four did with their own adventure. it kind of sets up that the Avengers did too much meddling, and now Doom is trying to fix it. With him even saying in the trailer,
All of you have lived, stolen lives. But now you must give them back.
so what's the big idea? So, my guess is this. RDJ being Doom isn't him actually being a Tony Stark variant. He's more so a different character from Earth 828, where the version of this current Fantastic Four are from. So this version of Doom is supposed to reconstruct everything how it was, leaving everyone else as a result of what they've done. All of the remnants of that are forced onto Battleworld while everything gets reconstructed to post-Infinity War, post-X-Men The Last Stand, as I don't think we're going to get a timeline reset of the new Fox characters. It's just going to be this old one. And whatever should have happened to the Fantastic Four after Galactus ate their Earth. I feel as the main crux of the story for Doomsday is Doom fixing all the issues and wiping all the timelines while the Avengers and everyone else fighting each other. Once they finally set aside their differences and they try foiling Doom's plan, but then they find out they're too late and see the creation of Battleworld. Of course, there will be casualties. Put money on this. Not on Polymarket, but on whatever betting app you like or don't like. I think Thor, Ant-Man, the X-Men, Fox, and Spider-Man, I'm putting Spider-Man because Tobey's rumored to be in this movie, will die. Why? Thor just feels like his final arc is just going to be everything. In his teaser trailer, he looked scared, he looked like he wasn't going to come back from this one, and he knows this is his final battle. Same thing with Ant-Man 3. It kind of puts an end to Scott Lang, and it kind of opens the door for Cassie. When I really think that I don't think people want to see Cassie become Ant-Man. And obviously, X-Men Fox and Tobey Maguire kind of fall in the same boat. They just want to have a good send-off for their characters. So they kind of fit in the same boat as well. So this is probably going to be the proper goodbye to all of those characters. You saw the title card. Now what? Well, there's nothing we can really do but wait till December and obviously wait till D23 and more news comes out. Obviously, the recent cancellations of Blade and the Wonder Man series do suck, but Doomsday and Secret Wars are a great look to the future. While we still have T-minus 3 months, or whatever the Doomsday clock that Marvel's put on their YouTube channel says, we must pray that Doomsday does not fuck up what the MCU is building towards. While it's been a long road full of middling projects, frustrating character development / lack thereof character development, and a franchise pivot so hard that the Star Wars sequel trilogy will make it blush, it really makes you wonder what's next for the future of this franchise. I will say, Spider-Man Brand New Day's success does prove to us that superhero movies are not, quote, products of superhero fatigue. It's more so audiences want good stories and unforgettable experiences at the theater. I mean, look at Backrooms and Obsession. All I'm saying. Doomsday and Secret Wars need to have that to be successful. Along with Feige coming out saying that fans are going to be gnawing at their fingernails for how the ending of Doomsday will be, and having that year wait for Secret Wars, it gives me some hope that Doomsday will revive that feeling, and then Secret Wars will restore that faith I have in the MCU. Even though I'm watching Dune Part 3 first, in the double feature. That's just me, though. So, that's going to conclude this video. Oh my god, if I look sweaty, it's because I have a whole new setup now. I finally moved from the shitty iCamera desk setup to what I like to call the movie shelf. This will probably be the last time you see this shelf because I'm going to IKEA tomorrow, as the time I'm recording this, to get a whole new shelf. So you can only see the top when I record, so here's just kind of everything. And I have Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls as kind of like the background thing. When I do more movies and more videos with this setup, I'll have everything up here, or however tall my new shelf is. It'll be in the frame where you can see what movie I'm talking about. And this AirPod case holds my movie tickets. I'll probably do a video on these because they're good experiences. And Terminator 2 on VHS. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for me. I hope you guys did enjoy this little mini arc I went through of going from MF Doom / Dr. Doom to me now being my normal self. I plan on doing more costume stuff whenever I get the chance, whenever it's appropriate. What? Wearing that in a hot-ass room like this sucked. It sucked. So, yeah. And I might not hold the microphone for the longest time now, but we're improving. Better lighting, better camera for now anyway, and better setup. I prefer this setup over you having to watch whatever's on this wall. This looks more cleaner. So, yeah, this has been Abraham from React Does Movies. Follow me on Letterboxd, on Twitter, on Instagram. I'll post that Instagram soon, probably when this video drops. I need to learn how to edit my videos for short form content. It's gonna be hard. So yeah, my name's been Abraham from React Does Movies, and I will wish you a good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Also, I that's like the only thing I know from The Truman Show. I have not seen The Truman Show as of this recording. So